What is up? Live from the tractor cab, Motorview Farms live stream. We're gonna hopefully let a few more people join here, but if you got questions, comments, leave them below and I will answer them as we go along here. We're on what, day 3 I believe of planting corn. We did one Friday the 24th, something like that, and then yesterday and today. So yeah, hopefully this live stream works out. Let me know if the audio's okay and whether you can actually see me or not. My cell service is a touch spotty here, so we'll see. Hopefully it'll work out all right. But anyway, things are rolling along pretty good, so I'm having a good day so far. We're up to, let's see, what do I got today? Round already. We'll have about 223 by the time we get done with these couple of fields, so that's good. So what do you got? A few people on from Michigan. Are you guys, there's stuff getting planted up in Mount Pleasant and around the rest of the state? Did we get our beans in? Beans. We have got beans planted. My Uncle Phil is planting beans right now, and we're gonna keep hitting it as hard as we can. That's why we have 2 planters, so we can plant both corn and beans and knock some acres out in a hurry. So I don't know how many acres he's got planted. Before yesterday we were sitting at about 250 acres of beans in the ground, and he had to do, we got to be pushing another 200 after that, so that's good. I hear everything's planted in Illinois. Is that true? Yeah, that's what I thought. 2.5 inches of rain on Thursday. We have been very fortunate here, at least fortunate for now, and missed a lot of the rain. Which is why we're in the fields now. We did get 1/2 inch of rain here on that Saturday, a little over a week ago now. But for the most part, our rains have been pretty small amounts. We have not gotten the 1-inch, 2-inch rains that some people have. And so that's why things have dried out a little bit quicker. I've been meaning to print off, we've got a weather station at the farm that keeps track of our rainfall for the months, and I've been meaning to print off last year's month of April versus this year's month of April to show you how dramatically different they are. The month of May will be even more dramatic, I'm sure, unless it turns off really wet here. But last year, from the months of April through September, I believe, we had at least 6 inches of rain almost every single month, or real close to it, and that's why we didn't get as much stuff planted as we wanted to last year. We had a lot of prevent plants, so we're off to a much better start this year, and hopefully we can keep right on rolling. Yeah, there is a slight chance of rain tomorrow. They were calling for 30-40% chance, probably mid-afternoon. I'm really hoping we miss it or end up with a 10th or less so that we can keep going. My bigger concern right now is the cold weather. They're calling for highs in the 40s, high 40s by Friday and Saturday, lows down in the upper 20s, 28, 29, which, as long as our stuff's still underground, shouldn't be a problem. But we don't need 20-degree temperatures in May, I can tell you that right now. How's that 2660 working? I'm curious how the John Deere VT works versus our Landol. We've got a 7431 Landol that does a pretty good job for us, but yeah. I see a few familiar names, so welcome to my live stream, guys. So this field that I'm planting right now is the one that my dad ran the field cultivator on earlier this afternoon. Looks like it worked up pretty well. There are a few spots. Let me turn the camera around. like these ends up here where you can see it's a little bit darker. That was probably just a touch wet underneath, but it's a small area of the field, so we don't worry about it too much. Yeah, we farm just a little over 3,000 acres. We do have some wheat, so we don't have that much to plant this spring, around 500 acres of wheat. And so the rest of it's got to get planted to corn or beans this spring. And let's see, today's the third day I planted corn. I've already planted corn more days this year than I did all of last year. Last year we only had 2 days of planting corn, and yet I had double the acres planted in those 2 days. It's funny when you don't do anything until June, how it motivates you, and you work a little harder and stay up later and don't stop. So by the end of today, we'll have, what are we at, 386? We'll have close to 350 acres of corn in the ground by the end of today. So that's a pretty good feeling. Hopefully we can get a bunch done tomorrow. The next field that I want to go to, we've got a 175 acres just up the road to the north here. It's actually one of the fields that we irrigate. We don't do a lot of irrigating, but it's we got a hard hose traveling gun that we can cover that field, and we like to push it. I'm hoping to raise somewhere between 250 and 300 bushel corn up there this year. We did some tiling up there last fall, and so we weren't able to get our fall broadcast fertilizer on, potash, and a little bit of MAP, phosphorus. Heard on it bright and early in the morning. It just said we're reconnected. So sorry if it cuts in and out. Like I said, my cell phone coverage here is not great. Yeah. 9.5 mile an hour with an 8.310. How wide of a 2660 is that? Because I don't think an 8.3. My comments keep disappearing on me. Fair amount of wheat. Yeah, we planted a little bit more wheat this year than we typically do. Not a lot more, but we can grow pretty good wheat in this area. You know, if we don't have 80 bushel wheat, we're really disappointed, and we shoot for 100 bushel every year. So last fall, with all the prevent plant acres that we had, we were able to plant stuff a little bit earlier than we would normally because we didn't have to wait for the beans to come out of the ground. So we decided to plant a little bit more, and so far our wheat looks really good. I'm pretty happy with it. We'll see what the weather does the next 2 or 3 months here, but so far we're off to a good start. Mike Mitchell's channel, I have 9 R's. No, I have not seen that, but that's crazy. Brazil, wow, welcome. And I see somebody else from Germany. Welcome to the live stream. It's late in Germany, isn't it? Irrigation in Illinois. Yeah, center pivots aren't cheap. I would really like a center pivot. They're a whole lot easier than this traveling gun. Ours is a hard hose, not a soft hose reel. But yeah, it's definitely a lot of work. When we made the decision to irrigate, we had talked about it for years and years, Dad and I, and we kind of thought that we had to try it as cheap as possible, and traveling gun was the way to do that. But I think we've proved that it works. Now it's just a matter of pulling the trigger on a $100,000 or $150,000 pivot that you can't move. The great thing about our Traveler is that we can go to a different field every year if we want to or need to, so we're always irrigating corn. Yeah, that's what I thought. Not enough horses to set it aggressive. Still, 30 foot at 9.5 is pretty good. Those have the adjustable gangs on them though, don't they? So you can change that from the cabin. I can't do that with my Landau. Jackson, that's close. Welcome. Illinois. Serbia? Really? Wow. Crazy. Water permits. So we don't really need a water permit, but we're not pumping out of a well. We're doing surface withdrawals from a river, and we do have to report our withdrawals every year. So it's not really ever been a problem or any kind of an issue or something, but we do participate in the MEEP program, which if you guys are from Michigan, you may be familiar with it. If you're not, MEEP stands for Michigan Agriculture Environmental Assurance Program, and it's kind of a voluntary program that they've started in Michigan to make sure that we're doing the best stuff we can for the environment. You know, we don't spray chemicals directly into streams, and we leave filter strips, and we make sure that our fertilizer applications are at the right time of year, and we're working stuff in so that it's not sitting on top and can run off. and just trying to be a little bit proactive and making sure that we're doing the right things for the environment. One of the aspects of that meat program is to report your irrigation water usage and stuff with the state, and so we do that. Although the first year we did it, I'm pretty sure Dad filled out the form wrong when he tried to do it online, and he told him what our pump capacity was, which is about 450 gallons per minute. And somehow or another, the program assumed we were pumping 24/7 for 365 days a year. And we got approved for it, or like it went through, no problem. So apparently we can pump as much water as we want. Now, we don't pump near that much. We pump, we withdraw from a stream, no permits were required, and we can pump as much water as we can get, basically. The sticker in the back window, it has a 30 on it. This one right here, that's just to tell the vehicles behind us, basically this tractor goes 30 miles an hour down the road. I don't know why they put it on, but it's been on there since new, so that's what that is. Ontario, Canada. Welcome. You guys, I don't know where in Ontario that is, but probably not too far from us if you're anywhere close to Detroit, Windsor area. How's things going up in that area? Well, that's there's not much irrigation in our area, and the reason for that is because we're on fairly heavy clay soils. We don't have a lot of sand. There are some pockets along the rivers that have some sand, but for the most part, we don't need it to raise a crop. It's not like Southwest Michigan, Northern Indiana, where they're on sand, and if you don't have irrigation, you don't raise a crop. And so it's a lot of investment when you don't have to have it. But I think we've proven on the fields that we do irrigate, when we've done it, that we can increase our yields by 40, 50 bushel to an acre pretty easily, and that pays for it. So my monitors are yelling at me, hold on. So I'm having some issues with my fertilizer on the planter. We have variable rate fertilizer. It's a John Blue piston pump that came on the planter, but it's got a little electric motor that changes some gearing to change the stroke of the piston pump, if that makes sense. And I think my gears are stripped off, so when it tries to adjust, it's not changing and it's not adjusting, and then it yells at me because it doesn't like it. So I set it on a set rate, and I'm just going to run with it. I don't need the variable rate fertilizer. It's nice to have, but not necessary and not worth shutting the planter down for it. Yeah, I do know they have towable pivots, but you're not towing them down the road. You're just towing them from one side of the field to the other. So I don't know. We've talked about a pivot. Hopefully at some point we'll get to that point, but for right now, we're just going to keep doing what we've got. And the field where we do most of our irrigation, it needed some tile. We finished that last year, so that was more important than putting in a pivot instead of our traveler. Maybe after we get some of that paid down, then we can think about doing some more land improvements. Sarasota, Florida, welcome. Yeah, you're not going to be real effective with that, are you? The irrigating every few hours behind the tractor. Yeah, so last year we didn't even use our traveler irrigation because we had so much rain all summer. We never really needed it. In fact, I didn't. Usually I leave lanes when I plant. Hopefully I'll be able to show you guys that in tomorrow's video, which will come out in 2 days. But just was so wet, and I thought, I'm not wasting time irrigating corn planted in June. Not going to be worth it. Yeah, so glad to see I'm a Buckeyes fan. I am an Ohio State fan. The reason I'm an Ohio State fan is because my dad and 7 of my aunts and uncles all went to Ohio State, so I grew up a big Buckeye. I did grow up in Michigan, went to school in Michigan in the 90s. It was rough, let me tell you, that was not a fun time. And then I ended up going to college at Michigan State, which I like to look at it as Michigan State and Ohio State are allies in their hatred of Michigan. So I was okay with it. So I am a Spartan fan as well. I cheer for both of them as much as possible. Ohio State just makes it a little bit easier to cheer for them most of the time. So that's the story and the background on that. Yeah, a little cool. Still cool here too. Yeah, if you're in a tractor and your monitor beeps, it'll make you look at yours too on it. Potato country, yeah, I bet there's a lot of irrigation in the potatoes. They like their water, and I think most of the potatoes anymore, they won't even grow them unless they don't have irrigation, just because they need that controlled environment. Sylvania, that's close. Formerly Berkey, I don't know what that means, but we actually have some fields and farms down in Berkey, or kind of right between Berkey and Sylvania, so welcome. Tractor on the bean planter is the 8430, which if you've been watching my channel for a while, you've seen it come through the shop this winter. I plant the corn with our 8335R, and Phil plants beans with the 8430. Just kind of the way it's been since we've gotten them for whatever reason. Either tractor could do either one. We have switched them some in the past, but we just kind of leave them that way. The 8430's got a power shift transmission. Oh, Joey, you're killing me, Joey. And this 8335R's got an IVT. I really like the IVT for planting corn. I like the IVT for most everything. My dad and uncle aren't as keen on it. They grew up with power shift or synchros and the old 4440. Power quad, I mean, and so they like their power shifts, and it's just kind of the way we go with how the transmissions work, I guess. Go State, I agree with that. I wish I had one of those fancy high-speed planters, like seems like everybody else on YouTube does, but we don't, and we've contemplated upgrading. Last year I planted all our corn in 2 days. I didn't need a high-speed planter, right? But no, reality is that the idea is to be able to plant your entire crop in 10 days. I could easily plant our entire crop in 10 good days if I got them. Even with the 16-row, just a 40-foot planter. We've thought about going to a 24-row planter to be able to cover some ground a little bit faster. But in reality, a lot of our fields are set up really well for the 12-row altogether. I've kind of almost got a controlled traffic pattern going on. We also have 120-foot booms on our sprayer, so Dad's always on the tractor tire tracks with the sprayer when he's spraying after us. He just takes 3 passes at once, and so I just don't see the need to go to a 60-foot planter. Sorry, I gotta keep switching my arms holding my phone up because my arm's getting tired. And so if we ever decided that we needed more planting capacity, it will be a high-speed planter. Precision Planting makes their speed tube conversion kits and stuff. My buddy that's been driving tractor for us a little bit, he actually is a precision dealer and sells all that stuff, so he's who I got my 2020 monitor. I don't know, it's a good option. We'll see. It's just a matter of, do you want to upgrade the frame and everything else on the planter, or just go to high speed and upgrade the meters and that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I would like to do some different stuff with fertilizer systems. I've thought about doing a pop-up and a 2x2 fertilizer, or even a 2x2x2 where it's on both sides of the row. But I don't know if it's best to try and retrofit the planter that we got or upgrade and get that stuff new. It's kind of a toss-up, I guess. So we'll see. This works really well for us for what we're doing right now. When are we going to start planting in Berkey? I don't know. Kind of depends on the rain tomorrow, I think. I checked the fields down there on Friday, and they were not terrible, but they were still wet. I heard that some guys started scratching around there Saturday and Sunday on some of the lighter ground. We do not have lighter ground down there. It's heavy. And so it's probably dry enough now. We probably could be down there right now, but it doesn't make sense to pull out when everything's rolling well here and spend half a day moving. So if we don't get the rain that they're talking about tomorrow, or it amounts to very little, I'm hoping maybe Thursday, Friday, Saturday we could go down there. The field cultivator needs to go a day ahead of the planters, but I can plant the entire corn crop down there in a day. It's a big day. We have somewhere around 250, 275 acres of corn down there, but I can do it if I need to. So we'll see, but maybe later this week we'll be down there. Yeah, give me those thumbs up. Thanks. Appreciate that. Barley seeded, nice. You know, there's been talk of growing some barley around here. Michigan and Ohio, Michigan especially, has a really strong craft beer industry. Oh, well, it did before it all got shut down. We'll see how it recovers. And they talk about wanting local sourced barley and stuff. So there's a town in the northern part of our county here in Hillsdale County, Michigan, that was supposed to be putting in a barley processing plant. I don't know if that's ever happened or not, but if it did and we had a local market, it might be something we would try here in Michigan. Yeah, I definitely like the IVT. Power shifts are good too. I know Deere's got a new transmission. I think they call it an E23 or something out. It intrigues me, but I've never run one. Kind of a hybrid between the power shifts and the IVTs. People are too fast. Yeah, there is something to be said for covering ground at 8, 9, 10 miles an hour, but certainly nothing wrong with this 5 mile an hour either, as long as you're getting done what you need to get done. So by the end of today, which I should get done with this field somewhere around 11 o'clock tonight, I think. And we'll have over 200 acres, 223 acres done. And I didn't start super early. I mean, we didn't pull into the field until almost 9, and 11's not super late. So to get over 200 acres done on a good day, but not a full day, I'm okay with that. We don't need much help right now. Like I said, we've got my Uncle Jack is up. He usually comes up and will work for a few hours at least. Usually comes late morning, leaves 6, 7 o'clock in Diskin today. So sorry about that. I told you cell phone coverage is spotty, but I don't know why I can go back and forth for half an hour almost and hardly lose it, and then be out for a minute or two there. So sorry about that. First thing in the morning with your cup of coffee. I appreciate that. You know, when I started this, I didn't anticipate daily videos, but it's just kind of the way that it worked, and I've kept up with it, and I enjoy making these videos every day and stuff. It's a lot of fun for me. I appreciate that you guys like them and enjoy them. That makes it a lot easier to do it. Yeah, glad you enjoy it too. I think there are times when we should use a 12-row corn head and just run the combine a little bit slower, shut it down if we need to, be a little bit more efficient, but we don't need it. That's basically the point. We can do as much as we can with our ability and stuff with an nose, so there's not a lot of use for it. And like I said, it keeps us on that 20-foot, 40-foot, even multi, and really, the only reason we use that big of a combine is for the beans, because we need to be able to get beans out as fast as possible to give us more time to work on the corn. So, test plots. Yes, I am doing test plots. I'm doing a quite extensive amount of test plots, actually. I've got a corn and a bean test plot going in here. It'll be between my seed warehouse and the farm and around my seed warehouse. And hopefully I'll be getting to them. I don't know if it'll be later this week, first of next week. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm going to do a huge variety trial for both corn and beans. And I'm also going to do some other kind of testing, things like starter rates, nitrogen rate trials. We're going to do a fungicide trial. We'll do a population study on different planting populations. We may do a depth trial and set the planter at different depths to see the differences there. On beans, I'm going to do seed treatment trials so we can test the different seed treatments and stuff. So, yeah, we're going to do quite a bit. So, all right, let's just show you what's going on here in front of me. I'm coming up to kind of well, there's a corner out of this field, and we got to go past it. It's always never fails that it works out that it's right in the middle of a planter pass. So we're just going to curve around it. I am going to drop a marker and turn. I like to have 2 passes around all the borders of the field that are full planter width and follow the edge. And the reason that I like to have 2 of them is because it goes back to when Dad comes in here to spray. Look, it's a little wet there. Oh well. But anyway, when Dad comes in here to spray, he's following my second planter pass off the edge of the field. And so if I put 2 of them, there's tractor tires there for him to follow, and he doesn't have to try and guess it or judge it looking out at the end of his boom. So that marker out there, because I haven't talked about it, if you don't know, it basically makes a mark 20 feet from the last row. 20 feet is the center, 20 feet is the center of the next pass. And that'll be right down the center line of the hood of the tractor. So I'll show you when we get turned around here. I did already come back here and plant these back ends so that I don't have to mess with that now. A little wet here in the corner. Corners are always wet. We seem to have a lot of water coming out of woods and trees this year. So yeah, I don't know why it seems to be so much worse than normal, but clearly I drove super straight there, as you guys can tell. It's a lot harder holding the camera. I forgot my camera mount, my phone mount. I fully intended to grab that when I was filling up the last time at the farm. Totally forgot. So I get to hold it. But anyway, see how that mark is kind of right down the center of the hood of the tractor, and it lines up that row unit with where I'm supposed to be. So follow it relatively close and try and smooth it out a little bit. This is how they planted in the olden days, before GPS. Must have been awful. So I never actually had to plant pre-GPS days. I did do a lot of tillage work pre-GPS. So I have steered a tractor manually before, but I don't know anybody who has used auto steer that would go back to doing things the way that it was done before. Seems like a silly thing, but man, it makes life so much easier. And part of that is all of the other stuff that we have to watch and things that are going on, which I'll show you when I can engage the auto steer. There, all right. So we're back on our line where we were. So I've showed you my monitor a little bit before, and this is kind of some of the stuff that we have to watch. You know, there's a lot of different things going on here. So you'll notice this little map up here. This is my guidance. The 0 means that we're perfectly right on the line. If that number starts creeping off, there's a 1. We're an inch off the line. It stays pretty good. But sometimes it can wander a little bit, and it'll tell you which way you need to steer to get back to the line. These buttons here will shift that line if I want to move it over, left or right, whatever direction. I don't. I want it to stay exactly where it's at. This little A down here basically just tells me that it's engaged. That button turns the steering on and off. This tells me my GPS status and whether it's any good. We are using RTK guidance, which is accurate to within 1 inch, and it's repeatable year after year. I can come back on this exact same line next year within 1 inch. So this checkbox here turns my section control on and off, which is basically the automatic shutoffs at the end of the field where it stops the seed from dropping automatically when we cross into something that's already been planted. I'll show you that in a minute when we go back to where we just swerved around. So this is the planter monitor. This graph here is now telling me population. Basically you want those bars to be as tight to the center line as possible. If it's under the line, it's planting a little less than it should. If it's over the line, it's planting a little bit more than it should. I'm still having some trouble with skips and doubles and not getting my singulation great. But it's all over the place, and I'm running way more vacuum pressure than I ever have before, and still not able to get rid of the skips. And this seed size is not big. I got a small round seed in, so I don't know what the issue is there, but I'm gonna keep playing with it and adjusting it. Sorry again. Anyway, the downforce ones tend to be all over the board, as you can see. We have air adjust pneumatic downforce on this planter, so it's better than springs. Not as good as hydraulic. One of those things that a planter upgrade, buying a new one may be cheaper than retrofit. So And then this button tells me ride quality and whether or not it's good. Black is good, basically. So that's the planter monitor. This one here is my liquid fertilizer, like I showed you before. And it's not adjusting at the moment because I think I got a gear stripped out. So we'll worry about that when we get a chance to worry about that. Maybe a rainy day tomorrow. I do also run this 2020 precision monitor, and it tells me the same thing that that planter monitor does, but it tells it to me in a little bit more detail. It doesn't know what population it's supposed to be planting, so it's guessing. And yeah, I'm still working on that singulation. I don't know what the problem is there. Did you guys stop commenting all of a sudden, or what? Or are they just not showing up here? I haven't gotten one in like 10 minutes, it says. Which makes a nice, pretty, colorful map. You can kind of see some of the different rates because of our variable rate, different colors. I don't watch it a whole lot. I watch it more when I'm bringing up some YouTube. Yeah, I'm in the middle of one of Brian's videos at the moment. I suppose we could get out and go walk through a planter unit and show you how it works. Interested? No, must not be anybody watching anymore. Oh yeah, I also have my camera up there. It's on the back of the tank. Mostly it's for going down the road. It does show me if maybe something in them center rows that I can't see from here is dragging or bunching up, but I don't have too much trouble with that. I also have a camera on the back of the planter looking at my tank. Sometimes I'll have a leak or something there that you can see, and really it's there for when I don't have the tank hooked up or for hooking up to the tank. Seriously, no comments? I got like 30 comments in a row and then nothing for 10 minutes after that test block question? That doesn't seem right. Let me make sure my settings are right. There we go. Yeah, sorry, I wasn't able to see the comments. Okay. Oh, before I get to them, let me show you this. So we're going back over where we just swerved out here, and obviously we're overlapping. I'm just going to keep my guidance line straight so that my rows from here on out are straight. And you'll notice these bars down here are blank, and the population goes to 0. Well, that's because it's got those rows shut off. I've got the outside 2 rows tied together, and then each row in the middle is all individual by themselves. So it doesn't overlap, and basically we're saving seed by not having that overlap. So pretty handy, useful thing to have. Seriously, Tim, you guys are done already? Nice. All right, sorry, I'm way behind here. I'll catch up. We all need a haircut. Yes, I certainly need a haircut. I'm well aware of that. Turn here. Sad thing is my mother-in-law actually cuts hair, and she would do it for me if I would just go. But I haven't done it, so. Does having ground split across 2 states cause any headaches? Kinda, sorta. It's really not a big deal. In fact, we're in 2 states right now. We are actually crossing the state line in this field, just barely at the back end of the field here. But yeah, we've got to report acres in 2 different states. It's really more of a county thing than a state thing, though, because even in Ohio, where we farm in 2 separate counties, we've got to report them to each individual county. So it creates more reporting and just having to go different places. It also means that our crop insurance policies have to be separate for each individual state. But again, that's a county thing, so it's not the end of the world. But yeah, it does create some headaches. Property taxes, obviously, we got to pay property taxes in both states. All in the same field is what? All in the same field. Oh, my test plots, maybe? Is that what you were referring to? Obviously, there'll be a corn field and a bean field, but all the trials will be in the same spot. Yeah, it's hard when you're working for somebody and they're not real patient and teach you. You know, I try to be pretty level-headed about stuff. I don't know if you guys if that's the impression that you get when I talk about some of the different hot-button issues or not, but there's not much you're going to do to change things, and so you deal with it the best you can, and life goes on, right? It's like the farm subsidies discussion I had the other day. I clearly struck a nerve with at least one person, but you know, things are what they are, and there's nothing I'm going to do personally to change it. You know, back here a few months ago when Mike Bloomberg was running for president, he made some comments about farmers and stuff that the ag community was all up in arms about, and you just got to let that stuff roll, man. It's not that big a deal. How many acres? We're a little over 3,000 acres. Do you always check tire pressure before starting? So I check tire pressures at the start of the season, not daily. I'll look at stuff, and if something's obviously flat, yeah, we'll pay attention to that then, but I do not check them daily. We just make sure at the start of the year that they're good. Usually things are close enough, you know, that you don't have a major leak anywhere, so that's how we do that. When guys cultivated, oh man, you're all... I know you've got a stream going there of questions and stuff, but I'm having trouble following each individual one, so. That ground looks like powder. Some of it is. We'll get out here maybe in a minute and take a look at stuff. It's really not that fine. We've only hit it once with the field cultivator here in the spring, and we try not to go too much because we don't like to make it too powdery, because if we happen to get a hard rain, this ground will turn into concrete and our corn won't be able to push through the crust. So. Yet to use auto steer up here. Oh man, you don't know what you're missing. Tractor have Wi-Fi in it? No, it does not have Wi-Fi in it. I use the hotspot on my phone to do the iPad. That's how I'm able to watch those videos on there. Yes, I know the new John Deere 8Rs will do the auto steering and the turns. In fact, this tractor will do that too. It's an older system that John Deere ran called iTech Pro, but it is possible. I don't mess with it because it's almost harder to set up than it is to just make the turns. Although while I'm live streaming, it might be pretty handy actually. I don't watch Cole the Corn Star. I have tried watching some of his videos, and honestly, he's just not my style. I know he's got a ton of subscribers and he does a really good job. I probably should sit down and try and watch a couple more, but I just can't take it. My favorites, other channels to watch, are Brian's farming videos. He's down in Chillicothe, Ohio. They do a really nice job. I like watching his videos. And Millennial Farmer out in Minnesota there. Those two are kind of what inspired and got me thinking about starting my own channel. And yeah, so those are the ones I watch the most of. I do watch Hartung Family Farms a little bit, Larson Farms. Some of those guys, I enjoy their stuff too. Yeah, Precision Monitor will tell you how much you're losing per acre. Yeah, they're pretty good at that. I think I've got that particular readout hidden or not on there because It's just there to brainwash you into their stuff being better. In fact, I'm not entirely convinced that's not what my singulation issue is that it knows I'm running John Deere plates and it just wants me to buy theirs. So they're going to make mine look bad. Any advice for a high school kid coming back to the farm? Honestly, go somewhere else first. I know that's harsh and it doesn't sound right, but one of the best things I did, all right, it's story time here, so I apologize for the people commenting that I haven't gotten to yet, but so my plan when I was really young, I wanted nothing to do with the farm. But really young, I mean like junior high, maybe as a freshman in high school. That started to change once I got more involved in high school. And I was able to do a little bit more of the stuff, run the machinery and operate the tractors, and I got a little bit more hooked to it. But my dad told me he wouldn't hire me unless I went to college and got a degree. Fine, I'll go to college. So I went up to Michigan State. I got a 4-year degree in agribusiness management, had zero intention of getting a job anywhere but the farm. My entire plan for 3.5 years that I was there was to come back to the farm and do that. Well, so I graduated in December. It was actually a semester early. I had some transfer credits from high school, whatever. In October of that year, my senior semester, my dad was talking to somebody with a company that we sell grain to. And that person knew that I was graduated from college, was asking about my plans and stuff in the future. And it got my dad thinking, and he just kind of said, well, hey, how much could somebody like that make out of college? You know, what would you guys pay? And he told him, and my dad all of a sudden decided he could not afford to hire me. So 2 months before I graduated college, all of a sudden I had to start looking for a job that I had not planned on at all. And it just so happened the next night was the Ag Career Fair up there at Michigan State. I'm like, well, I guess I better go. I went, talked to a few different companies that interest me, got an interview with 2 of them. I got an interview the next day with Syngenta, and they hired me on the spot, made me an offer. Well, maybe not on the spot. Maybe it was like 2 hours later. With more money than I had dreamed that I could make coming out of college. And so within a day or two, I had accepted that position. Started as soon as I graduated, or well, right after Christmas, after the new year, and started working there. I really enjoyed that job. I had every intention of still coming back to farm when the time was right. I thought at the time when I took the job it would be 5 to 10 years down the road. It ended up only being about 20 months later, not even 2 years, because some circumstances on our farm changed. 2 big things happened. I had an uncle who was farming all of our ground down to Berkey, kind of by himself. I mean, we all were together, but he handled that end of it, and we handled the stuff up to Waldron here. Well, he passed away about a year after I graduated from college, right when after I had been at my job for a year, and we started farming all that. Well, that was 600 acres almost that we picked up overnight. So between that and then the following summer, Labor Day, my dad had to have open heart surgery, had a double bypass. That was 10 years ago now, or a little over 10 years ago, and between those 2 events, it was the right time for me to come back and farm. And so yeah, so long story short, we're getting back to advice for somebody coming back to the farm, high school kid. That experience that I got just from less than 2 years working off the farm for a seed company, going and doing something else, was so invaluable to me. Like, I don't regret it one bit. I'm glad that my dad made me do that. I wasn't real happy about it at the time, but it turned out to be a great experience. It got me hooked up with the seed company that I'm still with today. I'm not a sales rep for them anymore, but I still am a seed advisor, a dealer for that company, Golden Harvest. I make really good money, side money, selling seed, and it really helps out my personal financial situation. And so I highly, highly recommend you go do something else for a while. Doesn't have to be a seed company, doesn't have to be a grain buyer or anything like that. Could be a neighboring farm, could be go join a harvest crew if it's something that interests you. That was something that I always thought would be really cool. Start down in Texas and harvest crops all summer. If you got experience on a farm, they'll hire you in a minute. you know, just get some other experience, so you've got something else to look back and reference, and some other ideas and stuff. You know, that'd be my recommendation. I'm not saying go to college and get a 4-year degree. I think there's a lot of value in some trade schools and tech schools and stuff, and some kind of education. I've talked about a few times on my channel how I don't know how to weld worth a crap. I would love to have been able to take a welding class in college. They don't let 4-year agribusiness management students take welding. Would have been nice, but not something that was available to me. So maybe just some of those skills that would be valuable on the farm would be things that I would look at. So, all right, what else here? What organic variety you planting today? Yeah, not planting organic today. So the variety in the planter currently is Golden Harvest 10T63, and I believe this is the 3120 version, which means it is Roundup ready. It is Liberty resistant, it is corn borer resistant, and there are 2 corn borer traits. It's got Agrisure CB, Agrisure corn borer, and Herculex 1, which is the DuPont, yeah, Corteva now, corn borer trait. So that's what we got in the planter now. I am getting most of my full season corn planted here first, which is good. And yeah, I'm glad to be getting the 109-10 day stuff out of the way. Hopefully tomorrow I'll get my 112-day planted. All right, different subject, but winter wheat that you were sowing clover into earlier. Why not spring wheat? We don't plant any spring wheat around here. It is all winter wheat, soft red winter wheat. I've never tried spring wheat. I have no idea if spring wheat would grow around here well or not. I honestly don't know anything about it. What I do know is that the elevators that buy wheat around here buy soft red winter, and so that's what we grow. All right, what else do we got? Yeah, more live streams. So I've been wanting to do these for a while, but it's really hard when I'm not, you know, when I'm not in a tractor or something to just do a live stream walking around the farm. I guess I could, but yeah. So we're gonna try and do a few more of these throughout the spring here. What form of nitrogen? So I am putting some nitrogen on with the starter. My starter is a blend of 12-25-0, some ammonium thiosulfate, which is 12% nitrogen, I believe. And then I do put some boron in it. So we're getting a little bit, I want to say 20, 25 pounds of nitrogen with the planter. And then we will use anhydrous. We'll side dress with anhydrous here in 3, 4, 5 weeks, whenever it's time to go with that. So that's what we use for N form. Do you only fill up seed for each plot? So depends on the field and stuff, but the nice thing about these CCS tanks on this planter is that I can put enough seed in to plant basically any field that we farm. So I typically will fill up at the farm, as I've been doing today, and you'll see in tomorrow's video, go to the field, plant it. The really nice thing about pulling this tank, that fertilizer tank back there, and having the little tank on the planter, is that I can hold enough fertilizer to plant 125 acres on a fill. So I can plant almost every field that we have in one fill. There's a couple that I can't, but they're not too many of them. Yeah. Do you plant competitive varieties in your test plots? I will put a couple of competitors in my test plots. I don't do a lot of that. I see both sides of this. Yes, it is nice to be able to compare my varieties to my competitors and stuff. At the same time, I do a big field day every year, and the seed company is trying to use my plots for some instructional stuff with more dealers and people from a bigger area. And I'm not selling a competitor's corn, and so I'm not trying to show off their stuff in my plots. So yes and no. But yes, I will have a Pioneer and a DeKalb corn number in my plot. Not extensively, but enough to get a little bit of a comparison at least. Quick walk around of the generator sometime. Yeah, absolutely, we can do that. Might be wheat harvest before I get to it, but yeah, if I remember to do it sometime, we'll do it. I do not have a Thunder Creek trailer for diesel. They have not given me one yet. They seem to give them to all the YouTubers. Maybe my day is coming. Anybody from Thunder Creek want to hook me up? that'd be great. Honestly though, we don't really need it because we just don't use, or we're not far enough away from the farm that we have to transport fuel very much, except for when we go to Berkey. But even that, like I can go down there and plant everything and drive back on one tank of fuel. So we just don't have that need for a big fuel trailer. Percentage of acreage in Ohio versus Michigan. Honestly, I'm not real sure. I'd have to go through and add it up, and we've got enough farms that are split 50-50 or something that it'd be hard to do. I would say we're probably 65-35 more in Michigan than Ohio. Maybe not with the Berkey ground. It might not be too far off from 50-50 or just slightly more in Michigan. I do watch Larson Farms a little bit. I actually watch them a lot more on Instagram. Their Instagram is awesome if you guys haven't watched it. But I have watched a few of their YouTube videos. You can never watch too many farming videos. I've decided that. It's not possible. I've heard good things about farming, fixing, and fabricating. I've also heard very good things about a Harmless Farmer down in Indiana there. So those are good ones to check out as well. Sweet corn, we just plant enough sweet corn for us. We don't plant any for neighbors or anything like that. Right now I'm using talc. I thought maybe that Bayer stuff was what was causing my singulation issues, but I don't think it is, because I'm still having trouble with just straight talc. Graphite, no, this planter does not use graphite. The book says to use talc, straight talc, and so that's what we use. Some other meters, if you put ESET precision planting meters in, they use an 80-20 blend of talc and graphite. The old finger pickup meters, they use straight graphite. So, but we don't have either of those things, so no graphite, which is fine with me because it turns everything black and dirty. You're very good at the seed crazy numbers. Yeah, there's I'm in the seed business, so I do know the seed side of it pretty well and can keep up on all the numbers. Strip till. There is one neighbor that has done some strip till. I would really like to do some strip till, but it's an expensive thing to start. I want to try some. I've been thinking and kicking around some ideas on how to try it this fall. I think in our area with our dirt, the only way that it works is with a shank machine to band fertilizer 6 to 8 inches deep in the fall. And whether we would have to refresh the strips in the spring or not, I don't know. But I don't think we can run a shank machine in the spring, and I don't think a Kohler machine would be aggressive enough to get the fertilizer mixed in that 6 inches deep in the spring. So I'm kicking around the idea of trying it, but it's not something I'm going to commit 1,000 acres to right out of the gate. Oh, Ryland, so my wife commented here. She says my son would rather be riding in the sprayer with Grandpa than me. Of course he would. Sorry, bud. Ryland's Grandpa's not in the sprayer. He's in the field cultivator at the moment. 3 seconds to your intro. Yeah, I know. I'm working on that. Apparently I forgot to save the actual template, or not the template, but the editable file. So I got to start over and remake the whole thing, but I'll get to it sometime. We do not use both tractors for side dressing. We've only got one anhydrous bar, and we've thought about the second one sometimes, but I've not had trouble getting it done yet, so we haven't had that need. And to be honest, if we had 2 bars running the way we are, I don't know that our supplier could keep up with us in supplying the anhydrous, because we can pull a lot of tanks out of there in a hurry. Both are front wheel assist, yes, and both have front duals. Am I telling my boys to go to college? Well, they're 2 and 3. They got a long ways to go yet. I don't know that I will mandate that they go to college, but I still think it's a pretty good idea. Yeah, we didn't get any rain yesterday. I saw Southern Ohio got a little bit more rain than we did here a week or 2 ago, but yeah, we're rolling. Rob O'Neill's, is that O'Neill Farms? I have seen their stuff. I do like their channel as well. Grumpy Farmer, haven't heard that, or haven't seen that one. Joey, did I get your new sweep for you yet? Watch tomorrow's video, bud. Cole's new mixing trailer. I will have to check that out. I have not seen it. I use Fluency instead of talc. I was messing with my singulation, so I don't use anything for planting corn. I can't not use anything. I know that I need some just because I got to get the seed from the CCS tanks to the individual rows. And when I don't use anything, sometimes it starts bridging up. So I really like that Fluency agent because it's not dusty. When I got an empty seed tanks or something, that talc is so dusty, and I hate breathing that stuff in, but you do what you got to do. And so I guess that's why I really like that Fluency agent. But if it's not going to work and plant right, then I can't use it. Advice on first gen farmer starting from scratch. Boy, you're asking for a hard time. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I know how fortunate I am to not be a first generation farmer. So do everything you can to keep your costs low. Work with your neighbors as much as possible. I strongly recommend finding a sprayer or something that you can do some custom work. I think that's a good way to break into stuff. But boy, it's going to be hard. Starting from scratch is not easy. Equipment is expensive. Operating costs of seed, chemical, fertilizer is expensive. Land is almost impossible to find, cheap especially. Good luck. I hope you can do it, but I don't know that it's going to be easy. In fact, I know it's not going to be easy, so I don't have real good advice there. I'm extremely fortunate to have the opportunities that I've had. Color packer instead of rolling baskets. Yeah, you know, we've tried the rolling baskets. They don't work for us. We just don't get along well with them. I like the packer. It breaks up the clods a little bit better, and it just gives us a nice firm seed bed to plant into. And the rolling baskets threw every little rock that we had on top of the ground, and that's just not for us. Would be beneficial. Yeah. How often do I check the planter? Does all those beeps tell me? Yeah, so I'm watching my monitors. I really am. Once everything's rolling right, things are pretty self-sufficient. It doesn't take a whole lot to keep it running. So I am watching stuff, but there's just not a whole lot to go wrong. Or at least I don't have a lot of trouble with stuff going wrong. Let's put it that way. So the biggest thing to watch is those. Let me turn the camera around for you. Is those flow meters that are right there, which I know you guys probably can't see the little balls that are floating in there. Oh, there you can. But as long as those are all floating and relatively even, I know my fertilizer is going out. So zoom out. There we go. That's the biggest thing for me to check and make sure. But other than that, my seed depth isn't going to change overnight. So I do like to dig once or twice a day to make sure everything's going well, but I don't have too much trouble. So Salford, yeah, there's been some of those around here. I just don't know that they're aggressive enough to level stuff off like we need it to. Green flannel shirt, yeah. This I'm kind of back and forth with the flannel and t-shirts and sweatshirts and stuff. Once it gets warm out and I can wear a t-shirt every day, I'll do that and get away from the flannel. But fetting equipment, strip till bar, yeah, maybe. I've been talking to my local John Deere dealer about maybe doing something, and I don't know what the right strip till bar is. There are several different things out there. The one neighbor that does it, I've been talking to him about renting his, or maybe even buy it from him. He's been thinking about retiring, so I don't know. We'll see. All right, so we're over an hour on this live stream. I am going to jump out here real quick, and let's do a planter walk around and show you a little bit. And I'm going to do it before we get to the end, so everything's still in the ground. And we'll do that and then answer the rest of the questions that we got, and we'll probably call it good for tonight. So let's jump out here. All right, I'm going to turn the camera around so you guys can see better. So our planter is a 1770 NT 16 row. This unit on the front is our fertilizer. Basically, this blade kind of runs on just a little bit of an angle, I think you can see. And then there is a little boot back there that creates a pocket for the fertilizer, which runs down this tube and kind of comes out right behind it there. If I dig a little bit, we can find this band of liquid fertilizer down there, but I don't really want to get it on my hands right now. So that is set 2 inches off of our seed, and technically it's supposed to run 2 inches deeper. It doesn't. It's maybe 2 to 3 inches deep, and we're planting our corn at 2 inches. So that's what they call a 2x2 fertilizer attachment. Behind that, you'll notice this wavy blade. That is my no-till coulter. It seems strange that you would run a no-till coulter on a planter in clearly not no-till conditions, right? Right. Well, I like it because it helps knock apart any clods and stuff. Like, see this? If the row was running right on that coulter would bust this apart before the openers get to it. I also think that it helps keep my openers from wearing so fast. However, my next planter will not have no-till coulters. It will have row cleaners. So, yeah. And then we've got here our True V openers. There are 2 blades there that come together in the front, and they create a pocket, an open trench for the seed to fall into. These rubber wheels here are called gauge wheels, and they basically control the depth. They are on these arms that contact the stop that's down in there, and when they hit that stop, it's as far as it will let the row unit go down. This handle here, which I'm not going to be able to move because it's got pressure on it, controls where that stop is at to let them go deeper or shallower and adjust your depth. If you look down in there, this little piece right here is my Keaton seed firmer, and basically what happens is the seed falls out down in there underneath that, and this kind of pushes it down into the bottom of the seed trench. And then these tires here are the closing wheels. They just kind of firm the dirt in on both sides of it. Let me see if I got my digger tool here. We'll do a little digging, make sure our seed's in the ground good. Yep, right there. So we're somewhere right around 2 inches, which is what I want. There should be another one right there. We're about 6 or 7 inches apart, which is right where we're supposed to be, depending on our population, obviously. But I'm happy with that. Let's talk about the meter here for a second. So the seed goes in those big tanks in the center there. It gets blown through these hoses into what we call our mini hopper. And inside there, there's this little rubber elbow with these holes in it. And if you look, you can see the seed way down below. And basically, it's just enough seed in there to keep it on the meter. And when these holes get plugged up and it stops the airflow, it stops seed from flowing through the hose. And then as the seed pile down below starts getting used up, the seed falls out of there, opens those holes up, it blows more into each row. Inside here, that is our seed plate. It's got all these holes in it, and you can hear that vacuum. There's a hose right here that's it's sucking air through there, which when that's closed, it sucks air through them little holes on the plate and makes the seed stick to them. So I can turn this handle, which will turn that plate, and you can see the seed stuck to them. Now, see like there's an extra seed. Well, there's a little, let me turn my light on here, hold on. There's a little ridged piece on top there. That's the double eliminator. And as those seeds roll past it, I don't know if I can do this with the light, but they fall off. The extras fall off. It kind of covers up part of that hole to make the doubles fall off. Now, why I'm showing so many doubles and skips, I have no idea, because when I come out here and turn this, it singulates every seed out perfectly. So anyway, once the seeds get down over above the seed tube, the vacuum cuts off, there's a seal on the door, and then they fall down that seed tube down into the ground there. So that's how the planter meters and row units work. Did you guys ask me any questions on that? Oh, so anyway, yeah. Obviously I've got my fertilizer in this back tank. There's a hose here that's connected to my planter, and that goes up onto the tongue, goes through a filter that's up there underneath that tank, and then comes back over to our pump over here. This pump is driven off of the contact tire, turns the chain, pumps it out to the flow meters where it's distributed out to each row. This is that gear that I was telling you about. I think it's stripped off, and that's why it's not adjusted my fertilizer. Alright, let's get back in the tractor and keep moving. Did you learn anything? It's so pretty, isn't it? Just look how pretty that thing is. Oh. It is a little dirty, but you'll have that. Okay. All right, let's keep moving here. Oh, there, look, turn my light on. You can see me in here. It is starting to get dark. What time is it? 8 o'clock. All right, what else do we got? Yes, I'm aware. Okay. I do have a John Deere lawnmower. I live in town, my little house in town. I have a John Deere X360. How many more acres do we have to plant? Honestly, I haven't added it up yet, but if I got 400 done, 407 it says, I've got a little over 1,000 to do yet. A ways. How many snacks? You want to see my snack pile? It's right there. We got some beef jerky. We got some chicken crackers, some Pringles, crackers, and a Rice Krispie. I might have to replenish it tomorrow. Also, my tractor's too old to have a built-in refrigerator, so you stick the water bottle up in the AC duct. It keeps it cold for you. What else? How hard does the tractor work? Honestly, this tractor doesn't work that hard. It's got plenty of power. The only time that it sometimes not struggles, but needs to use power is when my tank is really full, because then it's heavy. But outside of that, it does pretty well. Any Enlist beans? No, not Enlist. All of our beans are Extend. Different herbicide traits for those of you that don't know. The Extend beans are resistant to Roundup and dicamba, and those are the beans that we've been using the last couple of years, and the varieties that I knew, so those ones I stuck with. I think the Enlist platform is a good option, but we haven't tried any of those yet. They will be in my plots this year, though. I don't know that we're going to spray any dicamba in season, though. We do use some for burn down, but probably not too much in season unless we absolutely need to and have a good spot for it. Bathrooms are at the farm when you load up. unless it's desperate. And then there's the field. Try and find a tree to lean against. Yeah, my fertilizer pump is mad at me. All right, guys, unless you got any pressing questions, I think I'm going to call it there. Thanks for joining me. I really appreciate it. I wasn't sure if I would get enough people to keep this interesting or not, but I spent the better part of an hour just answering your questions. So, and I'm glad my internet held out. I will try and do this again when hopefully I have better internet. When I go to Toledo or Berkey or close to Toledo down there, we should have really good internet there, or cell service. So we'll try it again a couple of times. If I get a chance when we're in the field cultivator, we'll do that too. So hope you guys have a great night. Video from today will be out tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. Make sure you check it out. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you later. How do I end this? Oh, like that. See ya.